Good evening and happy Wednesday. As you can tell by my voice, I'm suffering tonight. But the enjoyment of some Collegiate Rocket League action in partnership with the NECC should do well to assuage my sickness pains. And I'm here with Sleeper as well. He's going to be helping me carry the NECC load tonight. Sleeper, I appreciate you doubling up tonight. We got some Division 1 action, then Division 2 action at the top of NECC. So I hope you're ready for a good evening.
Oh yeah, I've always got some time for some great Rocket League, especially with some great collegiate Rocket League that we got coming up. I mean, the Battle of Golds, and then getting to see Daytona State against another quality opponent like Florida Southern. I'm excited to watch them again later on tonight. But I mean, it's just a good night for Rocket League.
It is. We get ranked like top, essentially 25 action. Akron Gold being at 26 after a somewhat lackluster CRL run. Like they finished kind of short of expectations in CRL a week and a half ago, but they did beat Ball State in a best of three. So they've shown great peaks, but a little bit of a lack of consistency throughout this semester. They are 1-2 in the NECC at this point as well, and I'll pull up their exact run so far. They've lost to Kennesaw State, that was on this very stream a couple of weeks ago, and then they lost to Fisher as well, not a bad loss there at all, and then their one win is against Davenport Red last week. It was a sweep, and so against St. Clair Gold, this is a really good litmus test, I think, for both of these rosters, because St. Clair Gold, on the other side of the coin, Sleeper, had a fantastic CRL run, where they almost qualified. Like, they are looking good against West Virginia to potentially qualify for league play, but did fall just short, and so that's why their ranking is so high right now. So we should be in for a really good one here.
Yeah, especially since St. Clair Gold, according to my knowledge and what I'm looking at here, they're also still looking for their first win in NECC as well. So it'll be very exciting to see if they are able to step up to that level against Akron Gold, or really who will be the better gold team to come out of this night. I will finally have our official answer, at least for now.
Yeah, we have a couple of battles. I think I baited Big Wade into tuning into the stream by saying that we had a battle for Florida with Daytona State and Florida Southern. And I mean that's kind of a stretch. I will admit, because you got Big Wade University, Warner, that I'm sure would love to compete for that title. But also Florida's up there as well. UCF, a solid team. But right now, I think Florida Southern and Daytona State are two of the hottest teams. I think these two plus Florida are the three top squads in the state at the moment. And so with Florida kind of losing big last night, dropping 4 in a row to Winthrop Academy, I think the winner of this series has a good shot to kind of be the best team in the state at the moment, but it's still going to be a close one.
Yeah, we've got the night of battles indeed. I mean, the battle for the gold and then the battle for Florida. It's just going to be an exciting night all around. I just can't wait for when these players are ready to get down onto the pitch and to watch some Rocket League. It's always a fun night here, and I'm just ready for CRL, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're really being treated this week. I mean, we got good NECC matches on stream. We've got CRL this Saturday. I believe it starts at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be streaming, barring my voice going completely kaput. So I'll be watch partying at the very least. All the action this Saturday, and it was a lot of action 2 weeks ago. So I'm eager to have the second qualifier back. And then we got the Opens 2 weeks from now. It's 3 straight Thursdays of open action in March, and so CRL really is back. And so these NECC matches, I mean, league play is very different from playing in the bracket format that CRL gives us, but still, these sorts of matchups show where you're at going into a weekend, as important as the second open qualifier for CRL. Like, you've still got the last chance qualifier down the road, but everyone wants to qualify for league play and not have to go through that insane double elim LCQ bracket that's going to be taking place in like 2 months.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I mean, there's also like some of those top heavy hitters that have already qualified. So your bracket chances are a little bit better and a little bit more likely to make it through. But I mean, at the same time, you still got the second half of that top 16 in CRL to try and run the gauntlet through, essentially. And it's still going to be a very difficult road no matter what on Saturday. But you have a slightly better chance compared to that first open with your Winthrops and Concord. And then the team that, I mean, nobody had their eyes on except for me, of course, because I mean, come on. But Cumberland, I mean, they had an insane run, a hot shot, pulling up for the team, making that A squad, and then qualifying in the first qualifier. I was honestly a little bit shocked that that happened, but I was very happy for it because I'm a huge fan of that roster, and we'll be doing some casting for their team in league play.
All right.
But I a little bit of bias, but I mean, yeah, a bunch of CRL coming up. It's a great time to be a fan of CRL with all that is going on right now. Now that CRL is back in full swing.
And speaking of full swing, I'm focusing on making the lobby right now, so we should be getting in here in just a second as everyone joins up. So Battle of the Golds should be commencing pretty shortly here. I had to really lock in to make sure that the settings. I feel a lot of pressure when I'm the one making the lobby for a league match that isn't mine. Like show match lobby, I feel less pressure to make because if I screw up, it's just my own show match. But NECC or CRL, that's when I start to sweat a little bit. So should we get into this one? But I'm glad to hear you got yourself a home for league play, Sleeper. I think that's what a lot of casters should be doing to really elevate the production quality for these top teams. So really happy to hear about that. I'll definitely be tuning in there, as there's no shortage of teams to watch in the CRL space right now, so we got to do our best to cover all of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun teams that, I mean, unfortunately, there's not enough of us to go around all the time. We can't do more than one team at a time. But, I mean, we've got two on the pitch right now. Akron Gold, St. Clair Gold. Let's get this match underway.
Let's do this thing. And Akron Gold, the team that I've really got a close eye on, because with their pieces in place, and well, they're conceding, so I suppose I'll push my point back just a little bit, as this is a fast start for St. Clair Gold. So I mean, same sort of deal. I'll talk about my eyes being on St. Clair Gold here after their big CRL run. They beat big names, and I'm going to have to wait for you to start talking again to pull up their exact run from a week and a half ago. But like I said, they showed a peak of nearly qualifying top 8 for league play. And for a team like St. Clair Gold that has definitely upgraded with this revamped-ish roster of Fabzo, Barist, and Fatal Leaf, they had some questions asked of them after last semester of a lack of consistency. But now that they actually have a roster they can grind with, I think we're starting to see, now that we're sort of midway through the season, the results start to come in as this team gets things together, and they've shown their peak, and I'm interested to see where their floor is at times throughout this semester. But the fact that they have a peak that's near qualifying for league play bodes very well for the rest of this season.
Yeah, and it just goes back to the fact that they're a team that we knew what they could do with the pieces. They just never quite put it together last season, but Oxy's putting this pass together on target here, trying to get us to talk about Akron Gold again, and that's just a nice slot back post, and Akron Gold are able to tie it up here just a minute off of the clock. And Bepic, I'm excited. It looks like we might have a series on our hands.
Oh yeah, I was expecting nothing less than a quality series in this one. Should go 6 games at least between these two. I mean, very experienced all across the board, especially, I mean, Akron Gold. Well, now that Oxy's scored, I think we can definitely start talking about them, because if you look at the pieces on the pitch, I mean, we saw kind of their ceiling, especially on LAN last semester with their runs at DreamHack and the Bluegrass Boost Battle. And when you add Patty to that, I think this team will absolutely be a quality LAN roster, but it's the online play week in, week out that I think is going to be where they have to prove themselves a bit more, because I've been told that Patty's unfortunately putting fewer hours into the game with a real-life job, unfortunately. You know, you forget sometimes that these CRL players actually have lives and school and work. And so, Patty, I mean, that's why he's playing with the Akron Gold boys, which still a great roster, but he's no longer on the A team this semester for that reason. And so, Akron Gold, if they've got the hours on a specific week, or they can put it together and find consistency, they'll be a good team. But that's really where I'm kind of watching them every single week.
Yeah, and we know that these players are super talented individually, no matter how many hours they have in the game. It's just about getting that peak form at the right time and being able to find it when you can, when those LAN qualifiers and LAN events and main events are happening all at once, and you just want to make sure you're in top form for that. But sometimes with these week-to-week league plays, you aren't able to quite get enough practice in 1 week, so the results may not look as appealing on paper as you want them to be. But I mean, tonight, with these two quality rosters, we know that their ceilings can be high. But we'll just have to see how these teams are playing tonight on the night. And I mean, right now it's pretty even. We've been able to do a little bit of podcasting about both of these teams here for a little bit. And it's just some nice back and forth ball. No real scoring happening outside of that. But I mean, there's just some quality defenses being put together. No real offensive strings there. That's a miss from Patty, though. Embarrassed. Finally able to get the goal back here for St. Clair Gold and give themselves the lead again.
Oh man, just a couple of misses there. Oxy, well, biggest miss on the sideline, and Patty's forced to do an awkward spot because of that. But St. Clair Gold, I mean, they've given up a lot of pressure on their own side of the pitch this game. Field domination sitting at 63% in favor of Akron Gold. We've played a lot of ball on that orange end, but St. Clair Gold have done well to survive, putting up decent save numbers, limiting shots as well out of the Zips offense. And right there, hitting in counterattack mode, punishing a mistake there at the midfield line committed by Oxy. And so with that, St. Clair Gold do have themselves a lead now, but still have to survive what I'm sure will be an onslaught to end regulation.
Yeah, just over a minute left to play now. Jonathan trying to keep this in the offense here for Akron Gold. Good pinch there. Fatal Leaf doesn't have any boost, but he does well to kick it out. Gonna have to try and reset from their own half here, Akron Gold. Patty, all the way downfield. Fabso just waiting on that backboard with that full boost pad. Opts to boom it down. Oxy drops it to Jonathan. Through the corner now. Can't get the touch there. Double commit in the corner from Akron. Patty back on it, able to get the challenge with Barris. Allows the teammates to recover, but a lot of time wasted off the clock, still down by 1.
Unfortunately for Akron Gold, they're just not super connected right now. Double commit right there does lead to a clear and a bit of pressure in the orange corner, but it's still not effective offense. This is somewhat easy defense for St. Clair Gold, but Oxy in a bit of a 1v1 there, challenging Barris, but Barris wins out. Patty misses contact a couple of times, and it's just disjointed from Akron Gold here, and St. Clair Gold seem to be cleaning up off of that. A clear here from Fobs will make it extremely difficult for Akron Gold to find their way back on 0 seconds, as they are stuck in their own end. Barris can ground the ball, and it really stays up to Akron Gold's credit, but St. Clair Gold do confirm game 1 here. It's a good start for the Saints.
Yeah, and I'm seeing here as well that Indiana Tech took down Oklahoma Christian in Game 7 overtime.
What?
Just now for NECC. And it looks like Blue is saying that it was with Chippy as well. So, I mean, that's a very quality win for that Indiana Tech roster going forward through NECC league play. I'm a little bit shocked at that result, but at the same time, we know what Indiana Tech is capable of, and it's really nice seeing them put that together.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have been as shocked if I didn't know that Chippy was playing in that roster. I mean, Chippy, good player, but like Indiana Tech beating Oklahoma Christian with their starting lineup is an upset. But if with Chippy in, that is a really big upset, and kudos to the boys for getting that win. As Oklahoma Christian, I mean, that's a team that usually takes NECC pretty seriously. They're no stranger to pulling off big upset wins that they're not necessarily getting in the CRL landscape or other tournaments. And so those are two teams that take the NECC very seriously. Indiana Tech placing top 2 in Division 1 last semester. So good on them for pulling off the upset. And that means results probably piling in pretty soon here in Division 1, so we'll take a look. But right now, gotta watch this again as Jonathan just cut up the St. Clair Gold defense.
Yeah, Patty bumping Fabso from being able to get the initial challenge. Goes high, Jonathan just dropped it down to the floor, snuck it right under him. Good start here for Akron Gold here going into Game 2.
Yeah, I said Jonathan cut up the St. Clair Gold defense, but it was kind of Patty doing a lot of the slicing and dicing and blowing up orange cars. That was a clean transition for the Zips, and really what they were lacking all of last game. So St. Clair Gold better be ready for a revamped Akron team if that's what they're pulling off here early on. Jonathan tagging Fatal Leaf right there, but Oxy can't make contact on a shot Center ball now invites Jonathan back into the play, but Barris will get in the way, though. St. Clair Gold just got pulled completely off their goal line with that attack. Can Akron Gold score again?
Yeah, Fabso going for that mid-boost. Barris on the initial challenge, getting pulled way off of the ball. And then just a constant onslaught of on-target pressure from Akron Gold ends with Patty just being able to slot it middle of the net. 2-0 now here for Akron Gold. Fabso trying to get it right back here for St. Clair, and he does. Top right bins. Okay,
Fabso. Challenged quickly by Oxy here, but beat him over the top, and Patty didn't have the read either on the goal line. So Fabso 1v2 the Akron Gold defense right back. A lot of odd man rushes in this game. Coming up big for the offenses, and not only be half of what St. Clair Gold needs to get back, but it's an important answer to a run that Akron Gold were putting together after Game 1 saw a lot of control of the ball from the Zips, despite it being a loss. And if they're actually executing a bit cleaner going into Game 2, then that usually bodes well for a win for whichever team is doing that. But St. Clair Gold, crafty in their own right. They won't let Akron Gold come back without without no resistance on the orange side of the field.
Yeah, now Patty. Good challenge from him. Keeps us in the orange half. Almost trying to do it himself. Barris just able to get back in time to make the save there. Still in a difficult spot here for St. Clair Gold. Jonathan trying to use the corner. Fabso still there. Gets the challenge with Patty as well. Keeps it away from the net. Fatal Leaf can't do much to clear that ball away. Now Fabso trying to get back involved in the play to get the clear once more. It's going to be Fatal Leaf. Going to be able to take it down though. Patty, missed touch there. Waterfalls it down right for all three members of St. Clair Gold at the top of the inbox. And Bears will be the one to get the credit for it.
Counterattack game's looking strong right now for St. Clair Gold, and transition defense a little bit weak on the Akron Gold side. They were doing well when they had control of possession, but St. Clair Gold are allowed too many counterattacks. Seems like that's a potential win condition for the Saints, because they're doing well to beat Akron Gold defenders over the top at the moment. But now Fabso a little bit awkward there to wait on the ball, but no one was there for Akron Gold to punish. So St. Clair looking for an escape route through the midfield, and Barris will provide it. Double here could mean 3, but he won't have the read. So just offense for St. Clair Gold right now. And Stevie, I see you in chat. No KSU tonight. Our lone Division 1 matchup will be Akron Gold versus St. Clair Gold. And then we got Florida Southern versus Daytona State coming up next. But this one could be going a while. Akron Gold bite back.
Yeah, Patty again able to be in the right spot on the goal line there. Off of the flick, Oxy's shot just bounces off out the post. But Patty still there in the play to put it right back into the back of the net and get that lead back for Akron Gold now after St. Clair, excuse me, tried mounting a comeback here in this game.
Well, 2 minutes left, so once again, be fighting from behind here and find a bit of an opening over the top of the blue box. And as this posturing for St. Clair Gold's offense is going on, Stevie, since you're asking about Kennesaw State, their series is actually pretty much almost over. It's a 3-0 advantage for KSU at the moment. They're playing Davenport Red tonight, looking like a potential sweep over there. And those keeping track elsewhere, Fisher College and Ole Miss are tied 2-2 at the moment. Ole Miss once again proving that they are NECC demons, and could be pulling off an upset over Fisher, but we'll see what happens in the later stages of that series. And we'll check in on Group B here in a little bit, but right now, an important next 80 seconds for both of these teams. Akron Gold trying to keep this lead, level the series up, and St. Clair Gold once again looking for just one little opening in counterattack mode.
Ooh, almost finding one there. Barris can't do well to put it back on, so Patty is going to be able to clear it all the way down. Jonathan can't get it through the corner. Now Barris is back on the ball. Leaves it there for Fatal Leaf. Does get the bump ahead to get away that incoming attacker for Akron Gold. Patty sends it back down. Demos Barris as well. Fatal Leaf doing a good job to collect on the backboard, but gets demoed for his efforts as well. Bears once again trying to get the clear out. Oxy will be there to dunk him. Patty Likes the ball over one. That one's sailing towards the net, and it will find its way in. Patty collecting a hat trick here in the second game, 4-2 with 33 seconds left.
Not to mention that the first goal that Akron Gold scored in this game was Patty up ahead, finding a demo and a key bump to clear the road for Jonathan up front. So he has had significant impact in this game for Akron Gold, and is honestly the biggest factor as to why they are up 2 here with 20 seconds left. But still gotta survive, as St. Clair Gold are close to finding a third, but Oxy with that save should be able to close out game number 2 here. The Zips will tie us up 1-1.
As well, I mean, Patty getting a couple saves on the defensive end as well, just doing it on both sides of the ball here in the second game. And now time reached 0, 2-goal lead for Akron Gold will secure them the game 2 victory. And I mean, this is why we have these best-of-7 series here, is because it's that back and forth. You really have to try and figure out how your opponent's playing throughout the entirety of the series and stay on your toes throughout it all, and just try and adjust and do your best to adjust throughout the length of it as well.
Well, a lot of Rocket League left to be played now. We got the adjustments going into Game 2, although I don't even know if it was really intentional adjustments from Akron Gold. They just looked a lot cleaner in offense. Like, Game 1, they was pretty disjointed. They weren't connecting the passes. The demos weren't well-timed, but here they are, scoring first again. This time right off kickoff, Jonathan not needing Patty to run ahead. It's just a great setup by Oxy here, and Jonathan's cheat is to perfection. So Akron Gold have another early lead.
Yeah, wasted no time here. Only 2 seconds off the clock before they decided to score a goal here in game number 3. We'll see how St. Clair Gold respond from that.
Fabzo on the ball will get an opportunity to start a response. Nice ground pinch over to Barris, but Barris is bumped off the play by Jonathan. It's good heads up Rocket League. Using physicality to once again exert his will on the pitch. You know, so Patty doing a lot of the clearing in game 2, but Jonathan very good when it comes to the physical play. And there's a taste of their own medicine. Barrist running ahead and demoing the last man here. After Fabzo beat the first, Barrist is allowed a chance on the last man, and you know St. Clair Gold is making the most of that.
Yeah, that's just a great play. Like you said, giving Akron Gold a taste of their medicine. That lead blocker hunting like sharks in the water for that demo. And now Fabzo, a great challenge as well. Barrist through the corner, pinches it around. Oxy and Jonathan do well, though, to make sure that doesn't get anywhere near the goal line. Just keeps it from going under the crossbar there. Now Jonathan trying to keep this in offense for Akron Gold, trying to give themselves a lead again. Fabzo doesn't want that to happen. Does end up over to Fatal Leaf. Pops it up. Has some boost in the tank, but not able to get it around Jonathan. And Oxy back to the midfield line where Barris will keep it there. Taking it through once more. Patty down to the corner. Jonathan able to collect. Looks to get it over to Patty. Got the boost grab as well, but can't do anything with it in the offensive half.
St. Clair Gold, despite losing a couple of consecutive challenges right there, have a ton of boost for this counterattack and a great setup by Barrist. Beating a couple of players, making Jonathan a bit awkward, but Oxy winning that ball at the side should deter the St. Clair Gold attack and actually kickstarts a counter for the Zips, but the Fatal Leaf will stuff Patty right there. Now Fabzo in the air has been great in this series so far, but won't set up a real scoring opportunity, just possession for the Saints.
Yeah, now Akron trying to clear this out. Jonathan has a little bit of space to get it through to that orange half. Patty can't meet the challenge with Barris, so he'll get a nice clear downfield once again. 3 minutes left on the clock. We've settled into more of that back and forth that we saw throughout the middle of game number 1. And I mean, we saw how that worked out for St. Clair Gold. We'll see if it ends up being the same way in game 3 here as well. But Akron are just getting stopped by St. Clair a lot more in that offensive half, not really able to find a way through the midfield like they were able to in that second game.
Jonathan's got boost here, and Fatal Leaf was forced to give up the ball, so Akron Gold are once more well set up for a counterattack, and this time they are a bit on the same page. Oxy will actually play the ball center, but Jonathan can't commit as Fatal Leaf was hiding in that orange net. Actually beats Jonathan over the midfield line. And this is a game of counterattacks right now. Both sides looking pretty crafty when it comes to their aerial game when combined with the physical side of Rocket League. And so it feels like this game is going to fall in the hands of whoever can make that next big play, or maybe make the last big play, because the next one still might not be enough to find a win, but that double commit, well, could have been dangerous if Fobso didn't get important contact and Barris wasn't right where the ball went. So we just keep going back and forth, waiting for someone to give us a big explosion in their opponent's net.
Yeah, we'll see if Patty can do something here. Able to get it past one. Jonathan trying to get involved in the play as well, but Barris will not be denied. But Oxy will not be stopped either. Getting back onto the ball. Jonathan and Patty both in the opponent's corner. He gets in there for the challenge after Fobso isn't able to get a touch on it and just sends it to the net and gives Akron Gold the lead once more.
I was expecting more of an explosive play from the players, not necessarily just a miss in defense, but that's the sort of pressure that these guys are under when you talk about the craftiness and physicality of both of these offenses. It's not been clean on the backside of the ball at all in this series, and right there, a mistake potentially swaying game 3, but there is still time for St. Clair Gold to find a way back, and Fatal Leaf up ahead sets up Barris for a great passing play and a shot, and just like that, we're tied again.
Yeah, this is kind of more the play that we expected to break the deadlock last time, that dropped down after Akron Gold sent the player up high, and just Patty did all he could to try and get in the path of the ball, but by then it was too little too late. Barris shot way too on target and had too much pace, but now Akron Gold trying to do one themselves, unfortunately just dings off of that crossbar. Now Fobso counterattack here. Jonathan back, no boost. Fobso off the backboard, no follow-up coming through from St. Clair Gold yet. Now the clear outfield from Jonathan will get rid of that counterattack pressure.
Keeping the ball high, though, is a smart decision for Barris, because Akron Gold were struggling for boost for a moment there, but the ball does leak out into space for Patty to boom it back into that orange end, and so the Zips, well, I thought we were going to have offense, but a great bump actually pushed back and stopped the counterattack that eventually still did develop into a go-ahead goal. Patty and Oxy putting together a great passing play here, showing St. Clair Gold whatever they can do. Akron Gold can do a bit better here with 22 seconds left. It's a way more impactful goal here.
Yeah, Jonathan just wanted to be involved in that passing play as well. All three team members getting involved in that one. Patty gets dunked by Fatal Leaf there. Jonathan trying to send it through that midfield line. Barris over to Fobso. The shot on target. Now time is ticking down here for St. Clair Gold in game 3. Jonathan doing a good job keeping that one away there, and Patty first back on the ball upfield to that orange half will fall basically center of the field, and Akron Gold will take a game number 3 after yet another scrappy game here.
Yeah, very scrappy. That's the best way to describe this series. Like, very physical, very counterattack heavy, and it does feel like whoever makes the last mistake or the last big play, that's going to be who wins it. As both teams made big plays there late, but Akron Gold able to put together that passing play with 22 seconds left, and I mean, no shortage of experience on the pitch tonight, and so when the game gets late, you don't expect these players to blink, and we didn't see that at all from either side right there. So we're being treated right now here with the NECC official here on Wednesday Night Lights, as it's 2-1 Akron Gold's favor, but St. Clair Gold still hanging right there.
Yeah, it's just a matter of tiny margins here. It really could go either way every step of the way. We'll just have to see what game 4 provides for us here. Whether we'll get an offensive shootout like game 2, or if we'll get more scrappy gameplay like 1 and 3. Kind of the odds and evens that we've seen in this series. We'll see if that script continues.
50-50 there favors Barris, but Oxy will win the next play, and Patty with a bump is trying to thin the lines of the Saints, and it won't quite pan out. St. Clair Gold continue their attack here in Akron's ends. Good boost control as well from Fobso. That sets up an aerial play for him. He's got Barris to center and delays the pass, but it actually still works out. That was really nice from Barris. Had 2 blue cars in his face and still got a shot that was nearly on target, but clanged off a couple of posts right there, and so he stays scoreless, but already we got the playmakers on the field playmaking, exactly what you'd expect.
Yeah, Fatal Leaf over to Barris, trying to get one more here. Can't get it down on the crossbar. Follow-up going to be blocked away as well by Akron Gold. Now Patty down the other side, over one. Fabso back in time. Jonathan trying to get in a spot for a doink out, but instead it stayed center of the box, and unfortunately meant he went out of the play. Now a passing play here, saved at the last second by Barris. Oxy trying to put it in one more time here for Akron Gold, but Fabso will finally get a little bit of control and a clear out here for St. Clair.
Well, now it's the backline defense of St. Clair that's stealing the spotlight a little bit, keeping this thing level, as Akron Gold's done well to stop a couple of good-looking Saints attacks. But here we go again. Zips out in front. Oxy and Patty together, eliciting a double commit from that St. Clair back line. But Fabso finds a stop and Barris the clear. We keep going back and forth in game 4. Fabso next up's try and make a play, but he's just posturing for possession. Actually gives the ball up to Jonathan and Patty. Not a great idea, as now the Zips duo up front tries to make something happen. But once more, St. Clair Gold shut him down and go back the other way. Oh!
What a pass by Fabso there, down to Fatal Leaf. The double just at the right spot, set up by Barris as well. Just perfect position there, and then puts it back post. No one can get to it, and St. Clair Gold will be the ones to break the deadlock here.
Been a long time coming. Both offenses have been cooking in this game, but have been thwarted by the woodwork, great goal line defense, and now St. Clair will finally be able to break through. Half a game of Rocket League left, and once more, you still have that feeling that it's the last mistake or last big play that's going to shape this game, as both sides are getting a fairly even amount of chances here. Both sides with 4 shots, make it 5 now for Akron Gold. But let's keep it 5 saves for St. Clair Gold. That shot ricochets off the post now as well, and Akron can't buy a score at the moment.
Trying to open up some lanes here with demos as well, but Fabso doing all he can to keep that one away. Jonathan now trying through the corner again. Fatal Leaf will deny this time. Oxy down over to Patty. Shot back post. Fabso back in time for the save. This St. Clair defense has stepped up in a big way here in game number 4. Patty off of the challenge there. Fabso will be sending it to that corner. Uses the roof of Barris as well, but Patty has a shot. Redirect from Jonathan, almost good, but Fatal Leaf was there to make another insane stop for the St. Clair defense. Jonathan through the corner one more time, will be denied. Oxy centered for Patty, shot on Fabso, the save again.
Oh, and that shot's just wide. 8 saves now on 9 shots. St. Clair Gold have shown up big time with their defense here, and they are defending this 1-goal lead like their lives depend on it. And I mean, they would concede match point to Akron Gold if they do end up losing this game. So, you know, not necessarily life dependent, but still an important game to try and hold on to win, keep us level, and guarantee 6 at the very least. But Akron Gold will persist. Oxy, though, is forced to give that ball up, and Barris in counterattack mode, interfered with by Jonathan. Patty now on the ball, low on boost, but high in spirits. He wins a 50-50, sets up Jonathan for a pass out to Oxy, or no, just Fabso putting it in after Jonathan gets demoed, but caused enough chaos to score.
Sometimes that's all that's needing, is just the absolute chaos.
Oh, man.
Oh no, he took the clear from Barris and then just sent it directly into his own net. And I mean, if Akron Gold can't break down the defense of St. Clair Gold, there's no one better to do it than St. Clair themselves, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. That was a weird exchange for a goal line defense that's been pretty much perfect in this game so far. So own goal in to tie us up, but game's not over. Overtime looming now. Unless Fatal Leaf has something to say about it. He'll set up Barris for a win. He's going backboard. He'll put a double center. Fatal, though, as forced high with his shot and the rebound, just short of being on target as well. So OT looking very likely unless something crazy happens here, which it won't. And we do get OT for the first time in this series.
I mean, theoretically, we shouldn't have OT either, but Akron Gold will take the gift and try to extend this into a game win and push it to match point, but St. Clair are going to try and get it back and at least tie up the series after the costly mistake by Fob. So it's Fatal Leaf will send it up, but Patty already in the air to stop that 150 with Barrist over to Oxy. Sends it towards the net. Should be clinical here for Fobso. Tries taking it through the corner. Demos Jonathan after his challenge. Now Patty. Flip reset. Gets taken away by Barrist from underneath. And Fobso will send it over to the midline. But Jonathan spawning back in and getting back involved in the offense here for Akron Gold. Trying to look for a couple bumps. Barrist will challenge Oxy there. Patty just has to take his time on that challenge. Jonathan now going to be the one through the corner. 50 for Oxy and sends it to the net. In Akron Gold here, they will steal game number 4.
Absolutely. I mean, that was essentially 4.5 minutes of perfect defense from St. Clair Gold, and they give one up late in regulation. Fair enough. Akron Gold is good enough defense or good enough offense to eventually break through, but in overtime, kind of capitulating as well under all of the Akron Gold pressure. And I mean, you can see the difference in shots right there. Field domination was at 65-35 in favor of Akron Gold, so just the time spent in offense favored the Zips. But man, I mean, St. Clair Gold have to feel like they really let one slip right there. And it was, I mean, we talked about it, a significant one in this series because now Akron Gold's on match point.
Yeah, St. Clair have to now win 3 in a row against Akron here if they want to take this series. But, I mean, we look at the totals here. 13 total shots from Akron Gold, and they only had 2 goals. That defense from St. Clair was something else until the dam finally broke, and Akron Gold will be the benefactors of it and will be on match point here as we head into game number 5.
All right, and just in time, shout out Royalis for the raid, dude. Appreciate the love. Welcome in, everybody. Watching some NECC action. I'm having me a sick day cast, but I'm definitely feeling better now with the raid and some quality NECC top 32 action when you're looking at rankings in the CRL space. So shout out Royalis. I'll give you an official shout out. Everyone go follow him. Fisher College standouts, just Rocket League standout in general when you look at the RLCS scene as well. It was great getting to see you at Boston, Royalis. I'm disappointed we didn't get to continue our conversation when I was kicked out of the venue after day 1, but it is what it is. Look at the chat again. But in the meantime, Sleeper, back to it here. Barrist and Fobso kicking us off with a bang.
Yeah, getting that second touch through the bump as well was Barrist. Able to get it centered for Fobso to just put the shot on target, and they get an early goal here in game number 5. Kind of crucial after being on defense for so long. Being able to get one early here is instrumental for St. Clair and their mental, especially after how last game ended. Now Fabso trying to work with Barrist over there. Jonathan does a good job to read it. Fatal Leaf gets back involved for St. Clair, though. Centered for Barrist again. That one's clangs off the post. Barrist trying to keep it in. Oxy on the recovery back will be able to keep it away for now.
Oh, Patty just missing out on a skim there off the side wall. So it'll mean more offense for St. Clair Gold, at least momentarily. Now it's a 2v1 going the other way. Things changing quick right now, but Oxy's forced into a 50-50 right there. Actually does pretty well with it. It's a mistake from Barrist, playing the ball back center in front of his own net. Forced Fatally to jump into action. Jump into action he did. Cleared all the way down the pitch and is still going, making contact out in front of the Akron Gold net. It's not enough to sway the play into a goal scorer, but still a nice transition to alleviate some pressure that very quickly ramped right back up for the Zips attack.
Akron still trying to find something through here. That's a bump from Jonathan. Could open up something, but Barris right on it as well to get the clear away and stop that from really mounting into anything too dangerous here for Akron Gold. Now Oxy able to 50 it through Fatal Leaf. Patty will be next up. Fabso off of the backboard, able to clear it up over to Barrist as well. Can't use his flip reset for anything there. Now Fabso dicing up a couple members. Fatal Leaf the shot, but right at Jonathan as well. Still able to be in the right spot at the right time to make the save. Just keeps it to a 1-goal game here. Now the counter attack for Akron Gold. Patty trying to send it down, but can't do a good enough job there. We'll have to reset from their own half.
Demo from Jonathan. Got the flick over one and still made impact even after the ball was given up. And sets up eventually in this play from Patty and Jonathan. Re-entering the play. He'll center for Oxy, but his shot is denied by Fabso on the near side post. And St. Clair Gold get a chance to clear out, but Akron Gold are putting up some resistance to the midfield line right now. Zips not letting St. Clair Gold get too deep into their own territory without a fight. And so they're fielding off the sidewall, trying to make the most of this opportunity. But once again, Zips will come out on top. They've posted pretty good defensive performances the last couple of games and really kept themselves relevant when St. Clair Gold were stepping up and upgrading their own play. Sleeper. I mean, that last game with the phenomenal defense from St. Clair Gold. Akron Gold had to do a lot to keep themselves relevant and keep it a manageable 1-goal game, eventually leading to the comeback. So credit to the Zips for doing that as they continue to do so here in Game 5.
Yeah, they just did a impeccable job of stopping that ball from really even going across the midfield line more often than not. They just kept the relentless pressure going, and it's kind of easy to not have to play too much defense when you're just in the offensive half the whole time, but hey, you got to find a way to keep it there somehow, and they did a good job of really putting up that brick wall at that goal line, or that midfield line instead of the goal line throughout that last game. But now being stuffed here in this 5th game, really not finding much of anything. Some good defensive plays still as well. Kind of low boost totals for the defense here. Fabso getting involved. Jonathan back on the ball, had a little bit in the tank. Not much left. Now Barris trying to send it away, actually put it perfectly for Patty. It'll be saved away. Jonathan trying to keep it in for Akron Gold. Oxy getting involved as well. Gonna have to rush back here and try and reset from their own half once more. Jonathan, Patty able to get involved in the 50 there in the midfield. Oxy now trying to send it over. Patty's gonna be first on the ball. Fatal Leaf gets dunked by Patty. Keeps it on the orange half, but not really in possession of the ball much. Fabso doing a good job keeping it away. Time is ticking down. They're gonna need to try and take the ball here, take it fast, find a couple shots. Time still left off of the corner. Oxy in position, leaves it for Patty. The fake works out, ties the game. 4 seconds this time. These late game goal tying scores have been instrumental here the last couple games.
Unbelievable. Akron Golds from behind again are likely to force overtime now. And once more, St. Clair Gold, I mean, they got to recover in overtime now. Otherwise, you lose the series, but also you lose off the back of 2 straight games where you've tossed a late 1-goal lead. I mean, they were putting together another great defensive performance, but, well, concede when it matters the most. So it's overtime with a lot riding on it here in the NECC. As St. Clair Gold, they're trying to get their first win of the semester, and Akron Gold, trying to get up to 500 here in Division 1, trying to make that top 4 into playoffs. This is a significant series here in Week 3. Both teams know it, and St. Clair Gold at the moment have to step up to match the moment.
Yeah, Akron Gold are doing a great job of that, running those late second drills the last couple games. And being able to come away this victor of it. Patty almost got the double, but the defense was nowhere to be seen for St. Clair Gold. And Akron will play spoilers to St. Clair here and will end the series in 5.
Yeah, a 5-game series that felt like it could have gone a lot longer. I mean, 2 overtimes to end it, 2 late comebacks for Akron Gold. And, I mean, that's a nice win for the Zips, showing comeback potential, showing a strong attack. And even though, I mean, it wasn't the cleanest of series from Akron Gold, it wasn't the cleanest series from both teams, especially to start. But they found a way to get the wins there with late comebacks as well. And so for Akron Gold, they'll be 2-2 now in the NECC, and they're showing that they can, on a week-to-week basis, still put out a level that is still good enough to beat top 25, top 20 teams, and keep themselves themselves constantly in that conversation of just waiting for that next pop-off performance when their kind of floor is still in a place where they're going to be in that conversation constantly.
Yeah, Akron Gold. I mean, they're just a very talented roster. I would be surprised if their floor isn't like that top 20 in CRL range, but when their ceiling is able to be broken, that's just when we see absolutely insane runs from them. Mainly recently we've been seeing it on lands, but hey, that's just lands are when you put in the most hours, I would think personally,
Yeah.
as a competitor. But a great win here from Akron Gold as well, like you mentioned, getting them up to 500, and a crucial win here against St. Clair as well, cementing themselves as a contender for the playoffs of NECC Division One.
Definitely a contender, but man, is it difficult to make playoffs in Division One this semester? Because I mean, you got teams like Oklahoma Christian and Fisher, which honestly should be locks for playoffs in Group A. Kennesaw State as well feel like they should be a lock, and then you got Ole Miss, who tend to pop off in the NECC. Although they've taken a couple of close losses now. They lost to Fisher in 7 sleeper, and then we got Indiana Tech A beating Oklahoma Christian in 7, pulling off the upset there. Kennesaw State, they confirmed their sweeping win over Davenport Red. And then over in Group B, we've got a pretty standard result with St. Clair Green up 3-1 over Leslie at the moment. The rest of the series have no results to be talked about. So a fun night in the NECC so far.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we still got more to go tonight. I mean, we'll be dropping down, taking a step down over to Division 2, but
Yep.
I mean, still 2 really quality squads that are fighting for that top 32 CRL talk, and I'm excited to watch it play out.
Yeah, no interview tonight after that match. I gotta conserve the voice. I'm dying a bit over here. So we're gonna go to a break. Should be about 10 to 15 minutes before we are back on the broadcast for Daytona State versus Florida Southern. So hope you all stick around. We'll be back with some NECC Division 2 action here in a little bit. And welcome back to the Night Lights presentation of NECC official matches. Still me and Sleeper in the booth, but we're dropping down to NECC Division 2 action for the second series of the night. Daytona State and Florida Southern. Should still be a banger, Sleeper 2. Top 48 teams. I've got in my rankings at 44 and 40 right now. Daytona State just slightly above at the moment with the resume they've built for themselves this semester, but still very, very close.
Yeah, I mean, when you're getting down to like that 40, 48 range, it's really just pulling hairs at that point, just nitpicking little results here and there. But it still should be a really close matchup between these two. And we just had the battle for the gold team, and now we get the battle for Florida.
Yeah, and this is a battle for Florida that isn't necessarily for the crown of best team in the state, but it's pretty close right now, because, I mean, Florida would definitely be in that conversation as well, and you've got, I mean, Florida's just a stacked state when it comes to CRL talent at the moment. They've only gotten more and more stacked with Daytona State popping up, with Florida Southern adding K-Frost to their ranks, and so we've got ourselves a big-time series for these two to really prove themselves and put themselves in a good position when it comes to their rankings in the CRL space, but also in the in NECC vying for playoffs. So this is a big one, big best of 7. That's kind of where we're at with week 3 of NECC here, and going forward, every series matters, and we're about to get into this one, Sleeper. I shot you a party invite so that way you can see the lobby for yourself, so we should have space in here. But as we get Sleeper into the lobby, the series is starting off, and Smooth already on the ball with a chance to make a play happen with Gio in the infield, but Smooth just does it himself. Great save by Astro, but Daytona State coming out firing right off rip.
That's a heck of a way to be introduced to the lobby with the flip reset shot by Smooth like that. But now Florida Southern looking for a shot themselves here. Solis able to make the save off of that one. Follow-up as well, able to bring it out. And I mean, hey, some quick fire shots here to start off this first game.
Yeah, very high octane. Exactly kind of what you'd expect from NECC Division 2. Not quite as clean as Division 1, but these two teams aren't as far off from D1 as, they once were in the NECC. Not these teams specifically, but the gap between Division 1 and Division 2 has definitely closed, because these are teams that are potentially vying. If you get a pop-off weekend day or open tournament from either of these two, they're vying for wins against the top 32, the top 25 in CRL. They are just that talented. That's how deep the Collegiate Rocket League goes at this point. I mean, Astro is on a team that's ranked in the top 48 and not towards the top. And with that fact, like talent like Astro and K-Frost, it's well known in the RLCS space, being on the number 44 ranked team shows you how deep of a talent pool we have in CRL at the moment.
Yeah, it's just awesome to see just CRL continue to grow more and more. And I mean, it's like there's levels, but at the same time, it's like a gradient at this point, where like you have your top 16, but at the same time, like the top 12 to 20 could be interchangeable depending on the event or day. As Smooth, nice little flick there, opening space from Solis, but just couldn't get it through in time. And then, like, as I was mentioning, then like your top 20 to 30 gradient kind of mixed in with the top 40 as well, depending on the day. Really, any of these teams have pop-off potential to take down some juggernauts that they should technically have no business winning against based on just strictly seeding, but that's just how deep CRL is at this point.
And great back and forth to get us started here. Showing you how close the competition is at this level, as Daytona State will look to strike again here, but Solis is just off on that shot. Pass not quite clean enough, and so DSC have to reset, but it's tough to do when you don't have cars to play with. Ulti finding 2 demos on the back lines of Daytona State, but Astro and K-Frost using that moment to refuel the boost tanks and not necessarily push that line forward. Now they can, though, with enough resources to put themselves behind the play confidently. And in the corner now, everyone's kind of getting involved. It's a party in the DSC corner, but we'll break away and we'll take the party over to the orange end of the pitch momentarily.
Yeah, Solus pushing it down to that corner. Gio trying to get involved in it there. Couldn't do so. Now Smooth, great challenge at the midline. Drops it down. Doesn't end up in a spot for an opening here for DSC. That shot able to be saved by Astro. The defense from Florida Southern has been playing pretty well here in game number 1. Daytona have had a few good looks at net, but every step of the way at the last second, Florida Southern have denied them on the goal line. Now Smooth trying to clear up once again. Stop Florida Southern from having some offense. Looking to try and push it past the midline. We'll go into space, but it'll be Smooth on it first. Yulty, again, just able to get the save on the line.
Crazy contrast of game 1 experiences so far. With Daytona State, they've put up 10 shots on target, and all 10 of those have been saved by Florida Southern here. And on the other side of the pitch, Florida Southern have been seriously limited by Daytona State's defense off the goal line. Only allowed 1 shot in this game. Or no, I guess it's 2 now on this attack. Make it 3. And Daytona State are finally allowing shot opportunities for Florida Southern, but we're just still scoreless on both sides of the pitch. So very different game 1 experiences on both ends, but still just as effective to keep us very close here at the end of regulation.
And different experiences, same result here so far. 20 seconds left on the clock. Florida Southern looking to try and break out, but it's going to be Daytona State instead, trying to continue to push through that line and break the camel's back, so to say. But again, they will just not be able to go through. Now Smooth looking for one more chance, but we'll have overtime here to start off this series with the 0-0 scoreline.
3 straight OTs for the stream. 2 to end Akron Gold versus St. Clair Gold, and now game 1 between these two, kicking us off with a bit of extra time spent in game 1, but how long that extra time is remains to be seen. Those 2 counterattacks have been broken up by effective bumps, well timed to stop things. And now Yulty on the goal line at Daytona State, looking pretty strong in the physical side of the game, but now Smooth in a 1v1, make that 2v1, allowed a free lane to net as Daytona State will score and win game 1.
Yeah, it's just a great 2v1 situation that Daytona State put themselves in. Smooth, a nice catch and carry out, and then Solus running lead blocker up ahead. And Daytona State start off the series with a win, go up 1-0 and set the tone for themselves here early on.
Yeah, and it's got to feel good to get out of a game like that with the win. I mean, Daytona State putting up 11 shots, Florida Southern stopping pretty much everything up until that final goal fell in regulation. A great counterattack, though, from Daytona State, really ending off that game on a high note with a very, very effective play that the superior Florida Southern back line couldn't find a stop against. And so game 1 going Daytona State's way, but if Florida Southern can keep up their defensive performance like that, sleeper, I think they can absolutely push this series the distance. As we're waiting for Astro to get back into this live before we get into game 2 here, but at the moment, Florida Southern still within striking distance, but they've got to figure out how to generate a few more opportunities here in game 2.
Yeah, it was really all Daytona State on the offensive half, that last one. And from Florida Southern, I want to see them try and push that midfield line a little bit more, try and find ways to look through to the net, and we'll have to see exactly what they can do here. But I mean, when you have as many shots as Daytona State had that last game, you just kind of have to wonder when that shot will finally go in for them, as it did in that overtime. Unfortunately for Florida Southern, ending that last game, but now looking to try and break out here and get one in game 2.
Nice clear out by Solus, but midfield structure out of Florida Southern, but you'll see full-on boost the midfield line. Gio had to play the ball around him and did so successfully. So what was looking like a decent setup for a Florida Southern attack has now turned into a momentary retreat, but we'll retool for this next one. Astro going off this ceiling. We'll bait out a double commit from the Daytona State back line. Center ball from Florida Southern trying to capitalize on that little bit of open space, but still, the Moccasins can't get a ton going in offense, and now they've nearly given up a freebie of an opener, but I think it was Smooth that was up for that shot. It wasn't expecting the complete misread, and now going the other way, Gio is forced to make a quick save. It's a bit of a scattered start here in game 2.
Yeah, but Florida Southern has done a good job of getting some nice quality offensive chances for them here, and one will finally break through the constant pressure here for the Mocs. K-Frost will be the one post after post, and then a good challenge from K-Frost does send a post and down into the net.
All right, so Florida Southern on the board. And it's got to feel good to see the ball go in like that, especially after game one left a little bit of disappointment, I'm sure, in the mouths of the Moccasins. But we'll start us off with a bang now. But Gio looking for a counter bang, though, as the ball taken from him by Astro. Two players commit into the offensive zone there for FSC, but K-Frost, the midfield line, has their backs.
Yeah, we'll have to see what DSC is able to do here. First time they've been down, haven't really had much offensive pressure aside that as well. Astro, the shot, able to be saved by Gio. This time it's the defense of Daytona State that's being tested. 7 shots from Florida Southern. One has gone in, unlike the last game in regulation, but we'll have to see if Daytona are able to counter that and try and find one for themselves here as well. Still 3 minutes of gameplay, so plenty of time on the clock to have that happen, but that's not a good thing there. Gio is able to get back in time for it, though.
It was a stretch, though. Gio having a pre-flip into the save. Florida Southern looking much improved. Not a team that starts out super hot. I do believe that has absolutely been a storyline pitched to me in Twitch chat by the Florida Southern faithful, but they are getting things together fairly early on here in game 2. I stopped there from Yulte, and Daytona State, a limited amount of opportunities here in this game compared to what they did to that Florida Southern back line in game 1. Just 5 shots, or no, sorry, 4 shots for Daytona State, and Florida Southern only having to make 2 saves on those shots placed on their goal line, and so it's been a much less of a labored effort for FSC in defense this game, doing a really good job of holding on to midfield control, and that is limiting a lot of what DSC is able to do in offense.
And that's allowed them to really break out more here in that offensive half and find some more shots on target, which they weren't able to get in that first game. And now Daytona, again, trying to find a way through to break here. Smooth center to Sulla, shot on target, but K-Frost will be there to save it. And even though it hasn't been tested too much here in the second game, it's still been outstanding regardless.
Pass up. We'll set up Solus for a play that doesn't quite come to fruition. A lot of missing contact on the DSC attack there, and it won't go punished, fortunately for him. They'll get a secondary opportunity, actually a good looking one. As Smooth has pace, but you'll see, we'll climb the ladder to the crossbar real quick to find that stop. Daytona State posturing well for a potential equalizer, but K-Frost in the way again, thwarting that attack.
Now up to Smooth through the corner. Yulte will stop the pass from coming through. Smooth trying to set it up once more. Astro gets dunked by Solus just off of the post. Gio's follow-up will be saved easily by K-Frost. Just dinks it away. Smooth can't quite get up to it. Is able to send it back and let Gio take control of it, however. Upfield for Daytona State once more. K-Frost will take it away in the corner. Get a counterattack now here for Florida Southern, but Smooth. Good challenge, opens up some space once more. Demo as well. Solus trying to find a shot here. Will be stopped by Astro before it could really develop into something dangerous there. And Gio's shot taken away as well. Now pass back over to him one more time. Double touch off of the post, and this time it goes through, tying it up with 12 seconds left.
That felt like a long time coming. Daytona State put together a really nice sequence there. A lot of clean beats over the top of Florida Southern players, and finally the goal line of the Moccasins will fall to pieces just a little bit, but we are still tied. Second overtime potentially looming here unless Daytona State can do something late in regulation. We've kind of got the space for it, as Gio will, well, he'll be dunked by Astro, and so that space is taken away, and overtime looks very, very likely. Less so now. Solus's double is just off target. That could have been a crazy exclamation point at the end of game 2, but it is no good.
Now we have another overtime, 4 in a row now here, spanning 2 series. 1-1 is the scoreline this time around, so a little bit more offense in the second game going into the overtime. A lot more, especially from the side of Florida Southern. Has been a hot minute since they've had some offensive pressure, though, still being held to 8 shots. Meanwhile, Daytona State have managed to build up 13 here going into this overtime. Really putting pressure on the net, especially a late game in this one here going into going out of regulation into overtime. And I mean, we've seen a lot of late game comebacks tonight, especially from Akron Gold. They had 2 of them that resulted in those overtimes and the victories as well. But now we'll have to see if Daytona State will be able to benefit from getting a late game comeback as well heading into overtime, or if Florida Southern will be able to tie up the series here, as a minute has gone from overtime and it's still been mostly Daytona State on the offensive half.
Yeah, I mean, Florida Southern's just completely lost their midfield control. That's led now to a game loss. They had so much possession all throughout regulation, gave it up in the final sequence there at the end of regulation, and now in overtime, never was able to reestablish it. Daytona State will take the ball and run with it. That's too talented a team in the air sleeper to not make the most of the space they were given to operate their offense there in at the end of regulation and into overtime. So Daytona State now grab 2 overtime wins in a row, and Florida Southern are almost up against it.
Yeah, I mean, you were mentioning, I think it was about the halfway point where Daytona only had 5 shots, it was.
Yeah.
And then, look, now they end the game with 16. So they really flipped the script around in the middle of that one and found a way to break down the Florida Southern midfield presence. And, I mean, Florida Southern, they just weren't able to recover after that and try and reestablish it. They just got beat down throughout the entirety of that game, slowly but surely, which ended greatly for Daytona State, but Florida Southern, now they're down 2-0 in the series, looking to try and find a way to get back into this one here in game 3. It's got to start here. It's got to start now. Otherwise, you're looking at a potential reverse sweep that you have to face.
And they've got a good support structure, Florida Southern do, so I'm not too worried about their comeback potential, especially considering the 2 games they dropped were in overtime. Coach Tomato, I'm sure, giving the boys a pep talk and getting them going now for game 3, but still, down by 2 games, Daytona States have put Florida Southern into a rough spot and now can exacerbate the situation as Solis nails his open net double tap, and Daytona State pick up right where they left off.
Yeah, a challenge from Gio and then a beat by Solis, and still boost in the tank, gets back to that ball, just a lovely double touch from him. And like you mentioned, Bepic, that's why you can't give Daytona State space in the air, because they can make shots like that and they can make them dangerous.
Solis wants some more, but just missed the sidewall read, and so Gio pick up the pieces. Challenged by K-Frost. Florida Southern now can try to reinstate some of that midfield control that we saw a lot of last game, and Solis will look to take that away. Astro eyeing Yulte down the field, but not quite on the same page, and also had Smooth in the space that passing play was looking to be created in. Now DSC given another shot opportunity, but Solis sends it too high. Smooth with the put back again too high, and K-Frost on the backboard defending, though the ball was taken off of his hood. Gio snatched a shot from out of nowhere right there, but no goal, still 1-0.
Florida Southern being tested on the back foot here throughout the first minute of gameplay. Gotta try and find a way to turn that around into some offense. Look for a couple counterattacks here and there. Double commit now from Florida Southern in the offensive half, though, so no real easy way for DSC to counter attack off of that. Smooth takes it down past one. Astro on the goal line goes the wrong way, and Smooth is smooth with it and is able to get the second one here for DSC.
Oh man, it's not easy to bamboozle Astro on the goal line like Smooth just did. That was a phenomenal solo play, beating pretty much everybody back to the Florida Southern goal line. And Daytona State are taking it to the Moccasins at the moment. FSC, come on now. Gotta step up here, as they seem to have completely lost any sort of momentum that they were feeling out of game 1. It was a close loss, yes, but they still were looking good with the midfield control, and, well, no, okay, they get one back. It's a bit of a gift. Awkward read there for Smooth on no boost. Easy-ish shot to save, but, you know, it's we've all been there, I think, in making reads like that.
You gotta find a way to build any sort of momentum somehow, and hey, getting a gift goal like that is definitely a way to do it. Gets you back in the game, gets you understanding that your opponent can indeed make mistakes like that, and well, now you just gotta find a way to exploit them when they do happen, because you're not always gonna get gifts like that. As K-Frost, his shot will be good. Just finding a way through there. Yulty demos Geo and Astro the pass off of the bottom of his car to K-Frost, bar down. And they got given a gift, and then they gave themselves one there with a great passing play.
Yeah, very nice comeback, Florida Southern. I mean, like I said, their comeback potential is not something that I worry too much about when looking at this team. Very experienced, very solid mentally, and so coming back in game 3. And they need to kind of do the same thing, putting together 2 in a row with the series, but Arizona State not giving up on this 3rd game without any kind of fight. That's a big win from Sullis, and Smooth and Sullis both make the most of that big win in the infield.
And giving themselves the upper hand once again right away. I mean, Florida Southern had a good effort to tie up the game after being down by 2. And then Daytona State just tied it up, or just gave themselves the lead, rather, right away again. Now approaching the halfway point of this 3rd game with DSC in control, at least on the scoreboard. But Florida Southern have had some good looks now, but that's not a good look for him there, as Smooth just sneaks a goal through again.
Man, that's just a steal. Yulty lets the ball go, and Smooth is all over it. Big time pickpocket of the Florida Southern defense, and just like that, the 2-goal comeback is turned to dust, and there is still a half a game left here, but still a rough multi-goal comeback that needs to be repeated for Florida Southern here. Daytona State keeping their offensive momentum rolling now, and we'll get a chance to maybe add a 5th here with Smooth running rampant in the Florida Southern back line. Doesn't make contact with anybody and fails out of a shot as well, but still does get back and attempts to go for it. But Florida Southern do find a win, but no possession.
Great extend from Geo there to push that one through the backboard. Solis had a chance, but it was off target. Follow up from Smooth as well. Not going to be good. Here comes the counterattack for Florida Southern now. Astro will be stripped away by Sullis. Gets the ball taken from him. Now pops it high up to Smooth for DSC to get another one here, but good challenge from Yulty. Hits it over to Astro, drops it down. Yulty's in position, but Geo still on the backboard after challenging Astro to take that one away. Astro back on the ball, drops it down, looks for K-Frost on target, and it will be good. Florida Southern, they are not out of it quite yet. Minute 20 on the clock, now only down by 1 once more.
That's the sort of play that makes this Florida Southern team a top 48 CRL roster this semester. I mean, the addition of K-Frost allows you to do stuff like that. Consistent contact on a pre-jump, pre-flip sort of play, and then Astro's pass is perfect. And so Florida Southern will keep themselves in this thing, and Astro actually gets them right back into it. The pass on the last play set up the 3rd, and he does the 4th himself. Steals that ball from DSC and doubles it in their faces. 4-4.
I mean, it started, their first goal was a gift by DSC, but since then they have been the ones creating the chances for themselves. And kind of like I mentioned, you really just need that one to understand and get your offense back in the game. And K-Frost will get a 4th for himself, a 5th for Florida Southern as well. And now they are in firm control here of this game. Number 2 after going 3 goals in a row here unanswered.
2 goals in a row to tie it up earlier. That wasn't enough, so they had to do 3 in a row here late. Still, got to defend well, and Geo has just beaten 2 defenders on the FSC goal line now. Daytona State won't quit.
Just like you said, Bepic, they got to defend well, but unfortunately for them, they couldn't. Not against Geo. Kind of forcing the own goal as well. K-Frost rushing in to try and make the save. Ends up into the top right corner of the net instead. Now approaching under, actually through under a minute here of gameplay left in the second game, tied at 5-5, which is a little bit of a different scoreline than we saw the first couple games. But I mean, in the end, we may eventually see overtime at the end of it anyways. We'll just have to see what happens in these last 30 seconds here as Daytona State trying to get back on offense. Solis does a good job cutting it off there. Yulti doing all he can to keep it out of the hands of the DSC attackers, and K-Frost will send it back down.
Another chance, late in regulation here. Yulti going backboard. Doesn't read the double tap perfectly. That's how Daytona State find a clear, but who can't get back to the ball? Gio doesn't challenge in time, and so the scramble is to see who might get a final possession here on 0 seconds. Daytona State's on the ball, but in their own half, and so with that accidental, I think, Astro double, we do get our third straight overtime sleeper, but you're right. Very, very different scoreline here.
0-0, 1-1, 5-5. It's overtime all the same here.
Yep.
And so far in this series, it's benefited Daytona State immensely, 2-0 because of it in the series. And now we'll have to see if they can continue writing that script and following it to a T, or if Florida Southern can flip it on its head here throughout this one, as DSC on offense right away, Demo on the goal line as well. Gio just has to wait on the side wall. Respawn does come in. Now Smooth is going to be next up here for Daytona. Can't get that second touch off the ceiling. Astro will be able to clear it up.
Again, FSC just can't generate control in overtime. They're playing so much defense at the moment. Daytona State, eventually, and we've seen it 2 games now, if they continue to get numbers in offense like this, they're going to win. But K-Frost actually just takes all of that defense, turns it into one good counterattack, and wins it for Florida Southern. That's exactly what the Moccasins needed. They will keep themselves in this game, and it takes 6 goals in an overtime win to get them their first game win.
11 goals total in that third game. That is just a shootout compared to what we've seen. And the save totals kind of reflect that as well. 0 from Daytona in general, and then 3 from Florida Southern. That's kind of an insane scoreline to see, but Florida Southern were indeed able to get that first game victory and bring this match back close within their grasp, only down 2-1 now instead of having to face a 3-0. And all 3 have been overtime so far, as we've had now 5 in a row on the Bepic channel, which is... NA saw what NRG did at the Boston Lannon, where they were like, hey, that overtime seems kind of fun. Let's do some of that on our own games here.
Yeah, I don't mind watching more overtimes after that. I mean, we're not exactly in a live environment like I was in Boston watching those NRG overtimes, but these are still almost as exciting as I don't know if you caught that on the post-game scoreboard, Sleeper, but K-Frost had 5 goals that game. He seriously stepped up. I mean, Astro as well was a phenomenal facilitator, and Yulti, I mean, always performing in his roles on this team. Like, I feel like it's not an insult to say that if you're Yulti, you want to allow K-Frost and Astro to play the game that they want, and then occasionally have your own pop-off moments, like we almost saw right there. And Yulti playing that role to perfection, and keeping things stable on the back line enough to allow K-Frost and Astro to run rampant in offense. And here we go again. K-Frost is still scoring. You can't just stop him right now.
I mean, this is the kind of performance that you kind of expect when you bring in a player like K-Frost to Florida Southern, really giving him that space to get that pop-off potential. And he's been showing it here the last couple games. 6 goals between the last 2 for him, 5 in the last one, like you said, Bepic. Now Smooth trying to get one back here for DSC, almost trying to get around it, just barely couldn't. Possibly trying to look for that flip reset as well to extend his car around the ball. But the shot didn't come through. Now looking for a counterattack upfield here. K-Frost will stop it in the corner, but Smooth will strip it right away. Yulti now trying to get upfield. Solis puts it right back on. Astro is back to make the save. Gio, the 50, ends up into the hands of K-Frost, and a deadly K-Frost right now. You definitely want to try and get that away from him as soon as possible. And DSC do a good job doing that. Now looking for a passing play upfield to get some offense back for themselves here.
Passing play out. Smooth and Solus looking to connect, but Solus does miss contact, and Smooth is dunked by Astro. Florida Southern looking to add to this K-Frost counterattack game. Scoring the overtime winner, and then first goal of game 4. And he sets up Yulty for a soft shot near the general vicinity of net, but now they got to get back quickly. Gio and Solus are up fast, and off the backboard, Gio just misses, so it will stay 1-0 for now.
Still on the offensive half here, our DSC trying to find a lane to break through. Astro doing a good job stopping that in the corner. Those demo Solaces as well alleviate some of that offensive pressure that DSC have. K-Frost and can't break through that midfield line. Solus will be there to put it right back in the corner. Dunked by Gio as well on Yulty. Up high, Astro's there first. A good clear out. Right into the hands of Solus though. Getting the clears, but they're not getting the possession with it as well. DSC have been doing a good job putting it back in, but there was a nice dunk in the midfield, which allowed Florida Southern to finally break away that pressure. Passing play again from Daytona will be stuffed at the middle of the pitch. Demo on the goal line. Solus finally finds a way to break through. Gio demoed the keeper, and Solus just had to bring it towards net after he had beat Astro there.
Moving down the playbook. I mean, if the three-man passing play doesn't pan out, if Florida Southern read it too well, then go back to the tried and true, beat the first man, demo the second method of scoring, and it works for Daytona State. It will tie us up, and once again, 2 minutes left. Tie ball game, Sleeper. Overtime looking fairly likely, but we'll see what sort of chaos envelopes the end of this Game 4 regulation.
Yeah, still do have over 2 minutes left to play here in this 4th game, so can't quite say that overtime is likely, but we will just keep it on our radar for now. As the time ticks down, though, we will definitely be approaching it more and more, although FSC don't want that to happen. Yulty up in the air, doesn't have any more boost, is able to fall with it, though, as Gio kicks it back out. Low boost here. In fact, almost none from the entire side of Daytona State. K-Frost trying to keep that one in, keep those boost totals low, looking for a way to break through here. Double demo, but still can't find the shot on target. Gio is able to pop that one out off of the post. K-Frost and Yulty just trying to keep this one in still. Solus on the backboard with boost. Finally has some room to break out and really get rid of all of that pressure that Florida was trying to break through with.
Win there from Gio. Actually set up an open backboard now. Smooth watches as K-Frost and Yulty do get back. Both go for the ball, but overtime getting closer and closer. And I mean, even with 2 minutes left, I still feel like, you know, considering this series so far, the odds of OT are pretty good if you're looking at trends. And I'm hoping to make it 4 in a row, but definitely looking likely at the moment. Going back and forth. Florida Southern's defense looking stout at the moment. Astro makes a good read on that Solus ceiling play, and Gio's been shut down in the corner by Yulty. And so with possession, oh, actually, Gio does break through. A worm burner underneath the moccasin there on the goal line does put DSC in front.
Great pass there from Smooth, right back to Gio in the corner, and just puts it right through the rotations from the Florida defense. Or Florida Southern, I should specify, and do a good job getting the goal here, go-ahead goal. But now Florida Southern almost finds the game tie, 20 seconds left on the clock. The Mocs trying to get this offensive pressure, trying to give us that overtime and themselves the overtime to try and tie up the series, but a good clear out from Daytona State. We'll get rid of that pressure, waste some time off the clock. One last chance here from the Mocs through the corner. Yulty's there, keeps it up, but away from anybody else on Florida Southern. Astro in the midfield, still in the air. Solus will play it down, and Bepic, we finally have our first game that did not end in overtime in this series.
Even then, it still required a late score from Daytona State as they wore that Florida Southern back line down. As you can see, Tomatoes taking a timeout here for FSC. Down 3-1 in the set. Makes a lot of sense, as you do have timeouts in best of 7 play in NECC, I do believe. And so for Daytona State, we've got a 3-1 lead now. I'm not entirely surprised. I think their offense has looked like the better of the two squads, and the backline defenses have been, I think, somewhat comparable in this series. But Daytona State, they're just showing more firepower at the moment when compared to FSC. Florida Southern relying on very precise passing plays, and I mean the K-Frost counterattacks have been phenomenal, but you can't rely on that throughout an entire series. So Daytona State with a good lead so far, but still have to close out.
Yeah, I mean, K-Frost, he had that game tire in this last one here with quite a bit of time on the clock. It was very early on when he did that, but then Daytona State really just, they found a way to shut him down, and Florida Southern really couldn't do anything after that. I mean, we see Daytona State, they just have the firepower, like you said, Bepic. That was the first game in this series that they did not have double-digit shots. That they only ended with 8 rather than 10 or 12 or 16 like they had in the second game that Florida Southern was shutting them down in. But then, you know, they came back and just absolutely had a rip of offense. But the defense from Florida Southern has been able to keep up most of the way with Daytona State, but sometimes the firepower is just a little bit too much for the Florida Southern backline here.
Yeah, that's what the case feels like with Florida Southern putting together a good defensive series, but it's not enough when their offense isn't carrying the load. I mean, even when their offense does have a pop-off game, scoring 6 goals, they still only won that in overtime because their defense had a rough game there. Daytona State outdoing them a number of times, and so these are winnable games for Florida Southern. They just have to take that next step, I think, offensively. And they look great when they had midfield control in this series, but they've lost that. And when they don't set themselves up for long-winded stints in the blue end, Daytona State definitely still look like the better team.
Yeah, I mean, it is still very slim margins at the end of the day. I mean, the first 3 games were all decided by overtime, and then this last one that we just had was a 30-second go-ahead, 30-second left go-ahead goal. So, I mean, it really is slim margins, but just the amount of firepower that the Daytona State offensive has had, you wouldn't really particularly think so, not looking at the scoreline, just looking at the play that's happening on the field. But, I mean, again, Florida Southern, they just need to find a way to tune up that offense just a little bit more, and they could put themselves in a very good position here for the comeback. But I mean, we'll just have to see what they get for us coming out of this overtime here, heading into game 5 with the series on the line here for Daytona State.
All 1-goal games so far, but still a Daytona State 3-1 advantage. And off kickoff, Florida Southern can change things a little bit. They've had a couple of hot starts in games, but they need to close out on any sort of start that they get here going forward. Need some cleaner Rocket League from the Moccasins. We're getting a decent beginning, putting pressure on Smooth to make a tough read there on the goal line, but DSC representative will do exactly that, and it's up to make another save. Smooth racking up the epic save points early on here in Game 5.
And does a good job of clearing that upfield as well. Gets demoed for his Herculean efforts he's had here so far, but Gio will keep it in that orange half before K-Frost pops it out. Astro trying to dunk Smooth there off of that one. Working with Solus to bring it upfield before Astro takes that one away for Florida Southern off of the post and then comes in out of nowhere and does it again himself. I mean, not really out of nowhere, but from the camera angle, it certainly seemed like it was there the whole time with it and just was able to put in that second touch on target and open up Florida Southern here.
That little unexpected touch from Astro threw Gio off, and that was what opened up the final touch on an open net for Astro. So really well done. Another pop-off solo play for either K-Frost or Astro. That's definitely a win condition for Florida Southern's offense. We just haven't seen that every single game, but if they're getting it here, then we could see this series prolonged as Astro gets back, cuts rotation, makes a decent read. Yulte, unfortunately, backflips, but does have team support. And so Florida Southern passing some defensive tests here, maintaining their lead, but Well, no buts, actually. They find a clear and will be able to escape their defensive zone.
Yeah, but Solus brings it right back in. K-Frost doing a good job staying with that on the recovery back as well. Now Astro will try and kick it out, working with K-Frost. Although Geo will be the one to take it off of that. Flip reset past one. Smooth trying to hunt a demo on the goal line. Although Florida Southern doing a good job of keeping that away here off of those plays. Coming a little bit wiser to them and being able to stop DSC from really getting those dangerous shots. That one was probably their best opportunity they've had so far, but still easily saved away by the defense of Florida Southern here. Holding on, now Smooth has a chance on target. Solus was pulling on the backboard a little bit, but nowhere near enough for Astro to not get the save, and just Geo coming out of nowhere. Getting the shot off target, taking it from the entirety of Florida Southern and putting it right into the net.
Yeah, K-Frost just wasn't quite aware of where Geo was right there. Couldn't get the flick off in time, didn't go instantly for contact or play for the 50-50. Instead, just let the ball sit up on his hood, and Geo takes advantage of that. And it's not the first time we've seen Geo dunking a score in. This challenge game has been on point tonight, and it gets us tied up now.
And now counterattack here for Florida Southern. Astro just doing it all himself. K-Frost running lead blocker in front off of the pass, and then Astro a nice clean double touch right into the net. Far side as well, where nobody would have a chance of getting there. And just like that, Florida Southern, they gave up that goal, but instantly got it right back, have a 1-goal lead once again.
The back and forth continues. Florida Southern holding an advantage now, but Daytona State will answer quickly afterwards. Bit of chaos there on the goal line, but they get the job done.
Well, Florida Southern, their defense has been great this game here. It took a Herculean effort and a great challenge game from Geo to break it down in the first place to get that first one, but that one just kind of fell apart on their own half. And snuck in for DSC, now looking for a clean passing play here for the go-ahead. And it will be saved away by Florida Southern this time around. Geo, a little flip reset will be taken away from him. Astro can't get up to it, but it's off the crossbar and out. Solus just couldn't get up above it before it found its way away from him. And now Florida Southern just barely hanging on here with the tie game. Geo looking for Solus one more time off the backboard. Smooth. It's far back enough. Trying to find a passing play with Geo, but instead all it will be met with is K-Frost. Gets a dunk as well. Keeps this one deep in the blue half.
You'll see up on the blue goal line. Don't make contact with anyone, but does steal 100 boost, so still productive possession for him. Rotation through. And with 80 seconds left on the clock, Daytona State is still holding on to a fast-paced offense, putting together some decent looks, and Florida Southern holding on nicely enough. And now waiting for K-Frost to get something going here as he passes the ball off to Astro. Demos on the goal line as well could open things up, but Solus on his lonesome does well.
Smooth playing that one slowly, understood he had the space to. Just able to play it nice and cleanly for a good clear out, allow his teammates to recover, get some more boost in the tanks, and try and find a way to counterattack here. That's just a shot on target by Geo. And again, the defense just falling apart here from Florida Southern. Astro trying to clear it out, couldn't dunk Geo. Yulti not in a great spot and just gets absolutely bodied by Smooth as well to give him less than a 0% chance to save that one. And it, again, late game here, Bepic. DSC find a way to get the go-ahead goal.
Late game heroics all night tonight. Kind of the theme of this evening of Wednesday Night Lights in partnership with the NECC. And with 30 seconds left, we have to see Florida Southern do something similar. They need the late game heroics, but with 20 seconds left, starting off in their defensive end and almost concede the fourth.
Still Geo trying to find a way to ball in that offensive half here. Solus looks for the backboard, will be shut down, but that committed to another double commit there. K-Frost able to poke it out, but they need to find a way to get a counterattack here. Yulti takes that ball away, 50 in the midfield, nobody there for the shot. Solus pokes it away, it hits the ground, and Daytona State managed to find a way to 4-1 Florida Southern.
Well, 3-2, the final there, 4-1, the final overall. Daytona State. I mean, great win for them. 4-1 looks really good on paper, but I think, like, you and I watching that series, Sleeper, I think we can agree that this won't move the needle much for both these teams. Like, for me, Daytona State was already the higher-ranked team, and Florida Southern was already a pretty solid top 48 roster. And so, with the close losses, several overtimes, all one-goal games, Florida Southern were right there. Just couldn't beat a team that's just slightly better than them when it comes to, I think, offensive firepower as a team. Daytona State looked deeper when it came to their playbook, and Florida Southern's back line did a great job of keeping them in that series. And their counterattack game as well was very strong. Astro, when he was allowed to facilitate the offense, was a win condition for FSC, but when that wasn't hitting, they just couldn't keep up with Daytona State in that set, and so they will drop here in the NECC. I need to actually pull up where the standings are at to see where these two teams fall with the playoff race, but still, very fun series there, despite it only going 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, all one-goal games. We had 3 overtimes to start this series, coming off of 2 overtimes to end the last series. It's just been a great day for NECC all around. I mean, the Game 7 overtime winner by Indiana Tech against Oklahoma Christian, all around, the games that have been happening have been wonderful. But like you were mentioning, Bepic, it doesn't really move the needle much in terms of rankings for these teams. If anything, this game just more shows the offensive firepower that Daytona State can have, and kind of just puts it out into the world a little bit more for people to pick up and see what Daytona State is capable of if they're really to tune up. I'd say they just need to work on that defense, especially in recovery, a little bit more, and they could start contending for those top 32 talks. But I mean, ahead of the top 40 as well, top 32, starting to break into that, but they just got a little bit more to work on before they can really cement themselves in that conversation. But again, their offense has just been phenomenal from any time I've seen them, whether it's on this channel or anywhere else. They've looked great on the offensive half. Just got to find a way to really shore up those mistakes in the recovering defense, and they could really tune it up a whole nother notch.
Well, final word I will leave all of you with tonight. Daytona State 3-1 now in the NECC. Their only loss is to the undefeated South Carolina Gamecocks. And Florida Southern now, with a couple of Game 7 losses, actually now dropped to 1-3 overall in the NECC. So going to be tough for them to make playoffs at this point. But still, a lot of weeks left to be played. Shout out one more time to the NECC for allowing me to stream their matches. Even on a sick night like tonight, it still felt good to hop in the booth and cast some CRL action. Sleeper, thanks for carrying the mantle a little bit with my coughing fits. I appreciate you for hopping in the booth for back-to-back sets. Hopefully you had a good time, and the same goes for the rest of you watching as well. Hopefully you enjoyed the broadcast. But that'll do it for Bepic Streams. Until Saturday, I'll be back with CRL coverage at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern time. So in the meantime, go support CRL wherever you can, and I'll see you on Saturday. Peace out, everybody.